Today, we're diving into a financial intelligence report with some pretty big claims about where things are headed by 2026. The report's title is The Secret Government Campaign to Drain Your Wealth. Our job here is just to break down what it says, what evidence it presents, and let you see the argument for yourself.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question that, probably hits close to home for a lot of people. You work hard, you try to save, but every time you go to the grocery store or fill up your car, it feels like your money just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. That nagging feeling that your savings are shrinking? Well, according to the report we're looking at, that's not just a feeling.
Now, this is where the source material for our explainer makes its first really bold claim. It argues that this loss of your purchasing power isn't some accident of economics. It says it's the result of a deliberate, repeatable strategy. And just to be absolutely clear here, we're not making these claims ourselves. We're simply explaining the findings of the specific report.
So where did this playbook allegedly start? The report takes us all the way back more than 100 years, to the beginning of World War I. This phrase right here is where the report says it all began. I gave gold for iron. This was the slogan for what it calls a truly brilliant and deeply manipulative government campaign. See, the German government was desperate for gold to fund the war effort, so they launched this huge patriotic campaign asking citizens to turn in their real gold, coins, jewelry, you name it. And in exchange, they got these worthless iron rings. And right there, that's the core of it. The report boils it down into this simple three-step process. Step 1, appeal to a really powerful emotion, something like patriotism. Step 2, use that emotion to convince people to give up their real tangible assets. And then step 3, replace those valuable assets with symbols or promises that have little to no actual value. This, the report claims, became the blueprint. Now, the report's main argument is that this wasn't just a one-time trick. It claims that this exact same pattern has been used over and over again for the last century, just tweaked a little each time to fit the circumstances. This timeline from the document is really the heart of its argument. It tries to connect the dots between these major financial events. It starts with that German campaign in 1914, then jumps to 1933 when FDR effectively confiscated private gold in the US. Then you fast forward to 1971 when Nixon completely severed the dollar's link to gold. And it continues right up through the massive money creation we saw in 2008 and again in 2020, framing the rise of what are called Central Bank Digital Currencies, or CBDCs, as the next logical step in this long chain of events.
Okay, so if that's the history, how is this playbook supposedly working right now? The report says it's shifted from big, dramatic events to something much quieter, something it calls 3 invisible taxes that are working on our finances every single day. The first one is the one we've all heard of, inflation. But the report argues it's not just random. They call it a tax because when new money is created out of thin air, it silently dilutes the value of every other dollar already out there. It's a hidden transfer of wealth, of your purchasing power, from you to whoever gets to create that new money.
And that leads us to the second mechanism, which the report sums up with this one stark number. What does negative 3.5% actually mean? Well, it's a concept they call financial repression.
And here's the simple math from the report that explains it. Let's say your savings account pays you a measly 0.5% in interest. But at the same time, the official rate of inflation is 4%. Well, that means your savings are actually losing 3.5% of their real value, their buying power, every single year. The number in your account goes up, but what you can actually buy with it goes down.
And the report does not mince words about this at all. It uses this direct quote to say this isn't some unfortunate side effect of policy. It calls it a deliberate tool, a way to legally transfer wealth from savers to debtors, like the government, without ever having to pass a law or hold a vote.
The third invisible tax the report identifies is complexity itself. The argument here is that when the financial and legal systems become so ridiculously complicated, with thousands of pages of rules and tax codes, it creates a game that's rigged in favor of the people who can afford armies of lawyers and accountants. That complexity becomes a hidden tax on the average person who just can't keep up.
So what does the report say is the modern-day version of that old iron ring from 1914? It points straight at the development of central bank digital currencies.
And this isn't some fringe theory happening in a corner of the world. The report highlights data showing that as of 2024, 134 countries, representing 98% of the entire world's economy, are all looking into or actively building these things. This is a huge, coordinated, global shift.
And this slide really gets to the heart of the report's concern. It lays out what a CBDC can do that physical cash or even money in your current bank account simply can't. We're talking about money that can be programmed, so it could be restricted to only certain purchases, or even given an expiration date. We're talking about total surveillance, where every single transaction is logged, and the ability to remotely freeze or confiscate funds, or automatically enforce things like negative interest rates.
And to show this isn't just a paranoid fantasy, the report includes this direct quote from the Bank for International Settlements, which is kind of like the central bank for all the world's central banks. They are the ones who said it, that CBDCs allow for fine-grained control. So according to the report, the question isn't if this control is possible, but who gets to use it and how.
So after laying out this pretty grim picture, what does the report say an average person can even do about it? The final part of the document shifts from explaining the problem to outlining what it calls a defense framework.
And again, one more really important disclaimer here, which comes straight from the source document itself. What's coming next is not financial advice. It's simply what the report presents as the logical conclusions for anyone who understands the historical pattern it lays out. The framework is really about a change in mindset. First, it says you need to understand the fundamental difference between owning a real asset versus just having an IOU from a bank. It suggests studying what kinds of assets have historically held their value when currencies have been devalued. It really urges people to get educated on the whole CBDC debate before the rules are all written. And, maybe most importantly, it says people need to learn to separate powerful emotional appeals like patriotism from their cold, hard financial logic.
And this explainer ends right where the report does, with one final, simple, and very provocative question that's designed to cut through all the complexity. No matter what the transaction is, whether it's trading your wedding ring for an iron one, buying a government bond, or clicking accept on a new digital currency, the report insists the most critical question you can ever ask is always the same. In the end, who gets the gold?